To the cricket betting podcast for 7Bet. I'm Ed Hawkins. The temperature is beginning to rise. Ashes markets under the microscope, plus best bets for two T20 internationals. Welcome along. This episode is brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, betting insights, like a boost, and more. Go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting yourself. Is someone who is a world-class bettor is Paul Krishnamurty, plus 36 on the best bets. They come at the end of the show. Don't miss them. 6 appeal on the channel this week, Paul. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, Ed. Hi. That was a nice one the other day, wasn't it? The old MCG special. Under 14.5, we're getting 8 to 11 on a bet that's won 40 out of 42 times. Never ceases to amaze me how bookies do that sometimes. They just don't seem to do the ground stats, just sort of treat it as a generic thing. And as I say, as you say, hopefully we've got a bit more to come on the sixes front this week.
Yeah, 6 appeal. The VIP channel gets subbed up in that comment section below. We are winning money. Richard Mann of sportinglife.com. 2 winners from our show last week. Minus 5.8 is pouring his way back. You ready to go, Richard?
Yeah, what a terrific week we had as well. We must mention. I mean, Friday, I think we were something like 7 out of our last 8 bets. I was in Aldi car park jumping up and down with a glee as saying Mayo hit another 6 and landed a 15-2 winner for us. So, no, terrific week. Yeah, more to come, hopefully.
Yes, the time I bet for most sixes for Pakistan. It came from 3-0 down, I think, at
It
one
did.
stage. So there you go. All our bets on the VIP channel, we work really hard on making sure we find the value. So get subscribed to that. Let's talk about what is on the show this episode for you. As I said, Ashes markets. So we'll look at those, the two T20s as well. So that's New Zealand versus West Indies and Australia versus India. But we are talking Ashes and now beginning to turn that temperature gauge up. As I said, we're going to now look at a couple of markets each week, and we'll introduce our in-play hotspot as well, where we give you something to remember for the test series. So pens and papers at the ready. Let's get into it. Ashes for you. The series outright at the moment, 4-6 Australia General, England 23-10, AK bets, matchbook, and nines at the draw with AK bets. Cummins is definitely out of the first test, which we knew. We are going to look at top England series bat and top England series bowler as well for you, try and decipher which type of player does well in these conditions. We'll start with your batters. Route 23-10 for top series England bat with Power Sportsbook. Brook 11-4 Spreadex. Duckett 5 Bet Victor. Crawley 8 Sky Bet Power. Betfair Sportsbook Victor. Smith 9-1 generally. A good stat to start us off. Brook has won 4 of the last 5 away series top bat for England. Rich, you've been looking at this deep dive and all that sort of thing. We've been talking about the VIP channel. We've been talking about it on our own WhatsApp group. Who does well, who doesn't? What you got?
Yeah, that's fascinating stat. What I would say in opposition to that is that he hasn't yet toured South Africa or Australia. He's been Pakistan and New Zealand, where there hasn't been a great deal of pace. Even in New Zealand, they haven't got proper quicks. And you remember that last Ashes at home, particularly at Lords, it was actually a slow pitch, but Australia got him out bouncing. It was Ricky Ponting who made the comment. He sort of hooks from low to high, and that means the ball can sometimes go in the air. You remember Ponting, high back lift, he used to come down on the ball, brilliant player with a short ball. I do wonder if on these big Australian grounds with high pace, whether they might go at him hard, particularly with the series starting in Perth. The caveat to that is that there's no Cummins for that test match, and he's got the best bouncer in Australia. I do think though this series, I think if you want to take route on no 100 in Australia, he's just had a poor ODI series in New Zealand. I'm not reading too much into that, but he's obviously going to be very short. Do you want a coming man, someone who can almost define their career on this series? And I remember Michael Vaughan, I think he was 28 in the 2002-2003 series, and he'd promised plenty, but never really made the big runs. And then suddenly it all came together for him. So Brooks 26, nearly 27. It could be he's coming of age series. But what about Ollie Pope? I mean, he looks a surefire starter for Perth now with the way Bethel played in that ODI series. I mean, Pope really looks a better player for not being in the team. He's tens for overall series unscored for England. Now, I'm not jumping off the train here saying, look, this guy's an absolute certainty. But he starts the series, he'll start at 3. He's actually done pretty well at 3 all told. And one thing he has done is he's made runs at the start of series. So you might find yourself in a nice position if he makes runs early on, he won't get dropped, and you find yourself on a bit of value. Obviously, these markets update test by test. He's 27, Ollie Pope. He's always looked like the real deal. But he reminds me a lot of Vaughan, actually. A lot of flash, and he looks a wonderful player and hasn't quite delivered. Maybe this is his time.
Paul, have you got any fancies on top England bat?
To be honest, I'm struggling to look past the top two. I really just think Root and Brook are two absolutely elite batsmen, and they're going to contribute a lot. And that I think that I would always want the middle order in Australia anyway, not facing the new ball necessarily. And I don't totally trust our top order. And also, I think with England, the important thing I think to note is how strong and how deep we bat. That the likes of Brook or even Jamie Smith, to be perfectly honest with you, or Stokes, they've got a chance in this because we bat so deep, and this pace that Stokes and Smith score at, they could easily not one big innings. And I think we'll see quite a lot of low scoring games in this. So it's possible that somebody wins this basically off the back of 150 somewhere. And in that case, you would look at, I'd still pick Brook, but I could back 10-1 Stokes or 9-1 Smith.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, Smith is somebody who is interesting because of the high hands, Rich. He does play with high hands, which you kind of need on fast and bouncy pitches. The caveat to that is that we don't know what the pitches are going to be like and whether Australia are going to produce something completely different to what we normally see in Australia and what the Kookaburra ball has been doing. Opposing that, Duckett. Does he play with low hands, Rich? Or is he that is just his short stature? And we referenced Hasib Hamid, didn't we, on our chat earlier? Somebody who played with low hands and the ball got big on him. And of course, he had a test career-ending tour of Australia. Yeah,
that's a great shout, actually, because I know David Lloyd's been arguing for the last year that Hamid should be on the tour, and I couldn't for the life of me fathom why, actually, because he was spot on. You brought it up on the WhatsApp group today. He just kept gloving everything, didn't he, on that tour? I really don't know where we stand with Duckett, if I'm completely honest, because his form's just fallen off a cliff. He's not past 50 in his last 14 matches, 100 ODI series, South Africa, New Zealand. It was that test at the end of July against India. I think he's a fascinating one because I think Australia will fancy they can nick him off. He doesn't leave a lot. He plays at basically everything that comes down at him. So on these fast bouncy pitches where there's carry, they'll fancy they'll nick him off. But he's an excellent square cutter. So he'll think if they both fourth stump to me, I'm going to keep cutting. I don't need a lot of width. He might get a lot of runs there. But Australia will fancy it's worth sort of offering him the bait, really.
Alrighty. I think we're going to be against Duckett, I suspect, perhaps in play, but that's not our in play hotspot. That's somebody else. We'll talk about that in a minute. Top England series bowler now. Now, the stats for you, the common denominator for taking wickets in Australia is absolute raw pace. Bumrah, Siraj, Jamal, that's Amir Jamal, the Pakistan pacer who's had some injuries since. He did well there. Mark Wood, so you're all very much late 80s, early 90s. Shamar Joseph, 13 wickets in 2 tests. Those 4 bowlers I named, the pace bowlers, the top 4 wicket takers in the last 5 years in Australia. Wood won with 17 in 4 tests, 21-22. Anderson 17 in 17-18. Broad 21 in 12-13. And Anderson 24 in 10-11. But Tremlett took 17 in 3 matches. Cast 27 wickets in 5 with a strike rate of 37. All away from home, those stats. Atkinson, 18 in 5. Paul, also on the WhatsApp group, I was talking about Bashir, but presumably we're going to rule him out. I thought perhaps because he played all 5. and the stats suggest he might get up to 15, 17 wickets because of his record. But spinners there clearly for the tourists just not doing anything. Can we rule him out?
I don't think you can completely rule him out for the reasons he suggests that, there's going to be so much juggling of the other bowlers that might be enough 17, but I don't think he'll get that many, to be honest. I mean, you look at the wickets he's got, they have primarily come in the subcontinent, where he's bowled a lot of overs and 9 against Zimbabwe. And, Rich pointed something out the other week, and I investigated it further, and he's bang on, which was when I said earlier I'd prefer Nathan Lyon for top Aussie bowler, and he noted how little he did last winter against India. So only 24 out of 167 wickets in that series with India fell to spin. So that doesn't really bode well for Bashir.
Joffa Archer is your 13-5 favourite at Star Sports. Atkinson 11-4, generally just tongue fours. Coral, Ladbrokes. Double the price of Josh Tongue is Mark Wood. We just mentioned him. 8-1. Star Sports, absolute standout. Bashir's 13-2, also is Star Sports. Castle just mentioned him with good numbers behind him, 13-2. Richard, what's the value?
Sorry, Paul, did you want to?
No, I was just going to say that cast, if that 13-2 is there, and I couldn't find it on the site before, that is a stunning bet. It should be half that.
BetMGM Virgin bet 13-2 cast.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at now. So if they're still there, Paul's giving you a nod. Rich?
Yeah, I had it between Archer and Cass, actually. I wanted to go for Bashir, and I'd like to see him start at Perth because I think he deserves it, really, and they need to support him. But they could go all pace at Perth, and then suddenly your bet's kind of out of the window. Don't forget, Graham Swan bowled 219 overs in 2010-11, still only took 15 wickets. Far superior bowler to where Bashir is at right now. Archer and Cass look the solid ones. Archer, I think, is the right favourite. He played the first 2 games because there's a big gap between them anyway. He'll be rested for one of the third or fourth, play the other, and then he'll play the 5th after a break. So that's 4, and that's more than probably any of the other seamers will play. And we talk about his durability, but actually in the last year, he's been more durable than Wood and Tong and Atkinson, who've all had injuries. He has been fit, and it's all been geared around this. I'm not saying I'd dive into the 9-4, but I think Archer is very solid. The other thing to consider game by game with Archer, Australia are going to have 4 left-handers who Archer loves bowling at in their top 8. It might well be 5 actually if Constas gets dropped and they go for Jake Weatherald opening. I'm not saying they'll go that way, but there has been talk of that. But even as it is, it's going to be Khawaja Head, Carey at 7, and Stark will be at 8 now. Cummins is out. Hazelwood's another left-hander as well, so that's 5 in your 11 at the very least. And Archer loves those lefties.
Loves those lefties, and he certainly fits the bill for raw pace. Thank you very much. This week's in-play Ashes hot spot comes courtesy of me. Maybe Richard or Paul will get one for you next week, and the focus is Joe Root, leg before in play for his dismissal. I think we were sort of getting around about 11-2 in that India Test series at home in the summer. And why are we looking at Root for the leg before? Reminded of it by his dismissal in the last ODI against the Kiwis. Just a bowler who can shape the ball back in, and Hazelwood will certainly do that. Stark will certainly do that. That is where Root is vulnerable. That's why David Warner called him old surfboard pads. And to try to cut out Root manoeuvring himself around the crease, do not be surprised to see your Aussies have a leg slip. They're trying to trap Root on the crease. So if you can see when these games go live, you get a bit of shape on that ball coming back into Root. That is when to play. So that's your Ashes hotspot in play for this week. Keep a note of those, and they'll build up to a nice little chitty for you to play, courtesy of the Cricket Betting Podcast in play for the Ashes. More next week, as I said. A reminder to sub up to that VIP channel in the comments below. We are in profit and doing very nicely. Thank you very much. You'll also get access to the VIP chat room with more bets shared. Also use code POD25 to get a discount on crickstats.ai. It's the best cricket betting database there is, and we like to use it to find some of these bets for you. Let's find some bets. It's game time. It's New Zealand versus West Indies, T20, the first of the series, Wednesday, 06:15 start, live on TNT, Eden Park, Auckland. Kiwis 2-5 generally, West Indies 11-5 with 365. I'll give you some possible 11s for you, and then we'll get a view from Paul and Rich. So Kiwis, Seifert and Robinson, Ravindra, put an asterisk by his name. We're going to come back to him when we talk players and players to follow. Mitchell, Chapman, Bracewell, Neesham, Santner, Jameson, Sodhi, Duffy. No Matt Henry is injured, which is a shame because he was very much in the win zone. The West Indies, Jangu, Athanasi, Hope, Rutherford, Powell, Chase, Holder, Shepherd, Hussain. Gudakesh Modi is not in the squad. Matthew Ford is, I could see him back involved. Jaden Seals, Pacer completing our possible 11. Pitch report in a second. Kiwis an even money chance at home in the last 10. Extremely durable in ODI and not so great at T20. Paul, you've got to be tempted by West Indies here, sure.
Well, I guess there could be a slight bit of value. I'm not crazy about. I mean, that record of New Zealand, that's against England, Australia, even Pakistan. They're all better sides than the West Indies. Although, in fairness to them, they played a lot better last week against Bangladesh in the T20s. And I guess without Matt Henry, that's quite a big loss. I mean, you would think Matt Henry would cause chaos in that Windies batting order. So, yeah, I could see it from a trading point of view, especially if they win the toss.
Rich, Paul's mentioned the toss there. We've got chase buyers coming up. It's very short about the New Zealanders, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a ground as well. I know you're going to do your pitch report now, but I think this is the one in New Zealand that will really suit the West Indies as well. Generally see a lot of boundaries here, and that middle order especially, it's got big power in there, even without Russell nowadays. So yeah, I thought they looked a shade too big.
That pitch report then, Eden Park, 8 of the last 14 night matches, which this game is, won by the side chasing. RPO of 9.4. Both teams to score 200, 3 out of those 14. 170 or more in first innings has won 9 times. Paul, what you got?
It's all about the ground again. And I mean, I mentioned it before about the MCG, about the odds being completely and utterly wrong on sixes. Well, surely they are here as well. The sixes line is 15.5, 8-11 with Betfair. Even money, 16.5 with 7bet. We've only had 6 fullish T20 internationals in my study sample here. 4 out of the 6 saw 21 plus sixes, and that includes a 16 over match. 3 out of 6 first innings were 190 plus. So in that case, the chaser might be a bet in running with that bias. But the bet of the week for me has got to be sixes. This is a small ground. It's there for the taking. Rich mentioned the Windies as well. I mean, you'd fancy New Zealand to get plenty, and you could certainly see that Windies middle order causing chaos here. So yeah, it's a choice of 8-11 at 15.5 or even money 16.5 with 7bet. I'm going to take the bigger odds to go over 16.5.
Anything ground related for you, Rich?
Well, I mean, runs. I mean, where do you go? I mean, over 335 match runs with Bet365 at 5-6. Again, this is what happened in the England game. We said the lines are wrong; they haven't twigged onto the ground. So I suspect that won't last long, but I would definitely take that. I mean, your team could get 210 batting first, and then you might only need 120, 125. And to that end, extremes 190, 11-2, padded power bet, fair sky bet. Both teams to score 200, 12-1. That looks a bet because you know what the Windies are like. They hit and miss, but they could easily blast 210, 220. Just that game that was washed out against England, we only saw 3.4 overs, overcast conditions, but New Zealand had still rattled along to 38 for 1. I think that was a sight of what's to come. So, yeah, big runs.
And nuggets from Paul or any other spots?
Yeah, well, same thing. I mean, runs. as we said before the England game, might be a ground where you bet the 240, 250 at silly odds in the first innings. Very possible. 7bet have got New Zealand first innings runs at 174.5. I think that's a bet because I think that even if they bat second, that will be the target. It will be up there. And the both teams to score, like 190s, 11-2, 200, both to score 200s, 12-1. Historic stats say that's completely wrong.
Any nuggets from you, Rich?
Yeah, I just want to jump back in and sort of canvass, to his opinion actually, because I think the West Indies could be vulnerable. They played well recently against Bangladesh, but they were spin heavy in that series, and neither of the Josephs are here. Seals is a terrific bowler, but they're missing the other two, and you need more seam in New Zealand, particularly on a pitch like this in a small ground. The straight hit here is nothing, so it is hard for the spinners. I suspect they'll be digging it in and trying to just get people cutting square with a wicket. They won't want to pick it up. So I think that makes New Zealand first innings runs particularly favourable if they get going. I mean, when you said sort of 230, 240, Paul, what are you thinking? Sort of like, I don't know, 3-1, 220, 4-1, 220?
No, I think bigger. I think bigger.
Think?
I think, well, right. If that 1-7, I reckon that New Zealand first innings runs will be about 185, 190.
Right.
That is my guess. Based on where it is now, I may be underestimating that, but I think it'll be there. So in that case, 210 is about 11-4, 3-1. And 230, you're talking 6-7-1, maybe 10-1, 240. It might even be that case where you have the silly bet at 40-1, 260 or something.
Good grief,
It
all
can
on
happen.
Wednesday.
And we saw it happen with England, didn't we, recently?
We did.
At Old Trafford. And Old Trafford's a much harder ground to do that on than Eden Park.
There you go. I'd concur with that run line from Paul. I did have it in sort of late 180s.
Okay.
And let's move on to players to follow now. No prizes for guessing the West Indies players to follow. Romario Shepherd winning 38% of the time, top bowler, 4-1 Star Sports. Hope with the bat, 31% of the time, 10-3 Sky Bet. And Rovman Powell, 21% of the time. That's basically just a point alongside a 4-1. He's sevens with Bet MGM and Virgin Bet. He's very much in the win zone. Kiwis, Tim Seifert, almost an even money record over a good old study sample now, sort of 11 or 12 games. So maybe also considering milestones on a flat one if we're right about this pitch. And a nice level spot, Rachin Ravindra, top Kiwi bowler. We saw in that Bangladesh tour, didn't we? The struggles these West Indies batters had with the slow left arm, where Ravindra is one of them. And if I've worked out that Ravindra might be useful bowling against these West Indies batters, let's hope the Kiwi Brains Trust has done the same. 365 go at over 25.5 player performance, 5-6. A question for Paul with Romario Shepherd. Do we just keep playing one last time? We got our timing out, didn't we, on VIP? Well, I say we. I messed it up.
Listen, you've got to stick with him. It's clearly the wrong price. He's bowling at the death, so that's value. And as Rich said, this is probably more of a ground for seamers as well. So he's got. I think that's a great price on him. I like another Windies player I like here is Jason Holder, 20-1 top bat with Bet365. Right, he's batting generally at 6. That's a big price. Had a good CPL, but a better bet is the player performance. 30.5 he is with Bet365 Holder. Last 30 T20 matches, he's won 20, lost 10 at that rate. And in T20 Internationals, won 9, lost 5.
Lovely stuff. Richard, what you've got?
Oh, and also, sorry, just quickly, the age-old question, talking about hold at 20-1, about do we back the rags for West Indies batsmen in case they get skittled or something. 100-1 Akil Hussain won the other week, right, against Bangladesh, and 100-1 Matt Ford, who sometimes bats at 6 or 7. Now, you never know how they're going to line up.
Yeah, the big prices for West Indies, they do chop and change that batting order. Richard?
I mean, Powell, you've mentioned he was desperately unlucky for the VIP, wasn't he? What, about a week ago? I know
Well,
you were.
was he lost by two?
Yeah,
He needed four off. Needed four off the last two balls to land a
yeah, and he'd
72.
been whacking it all
Balls.
over as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were desperately unlucky there. We were cursing our luck a little bit, but I think on this ground he becomes very interesting, doesn't he? I mean, he's just a brute of a hitter. Case 11-1 as well. I'm probably less keen on his chances, but 50 in the last game has been batting 4. That seems a bit wrong. I quite like Matt Chapman here, 11-2 top Kiwi. Quite keen on the lefties. You've mentioned Ravindra. Chapman enjoys batting here, made runs here last year, but I think left-hander against Akil as the main West Indies spinner. Potentially that Pierre plays as well. I'm not sure, but I just quite like the left-hander. I'm a big Chapman fan. I'll be having a small stake on him.
Alrighty. Check out the 0% margin feature at 7bet Sportsbook, please. The 0% margin feature at 7bet is designed to offer betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of their features on 7bet.co.uk/features. Right, we've got one more game to come before we get to those best bets. So you must stick around. Australia versus India, Thursday. It's live on TNT, 08:15. It's the 4th T20 and it's at Harare. Australia 11-10, 365. India 4-5, Betfred. Lads, Boyles, 10bet. India, the right favourites for me. No head for Australia. Dwarshuis is back into the squad. Hazelwood rested, of course. So I think Australia are going to go like this, and there may be some value to be had in correctly identifying Mitch Marsh's opening partner. So I think it's going to be Matt Shaw, Inglis at 3, David, Owen, Maxwell, Stoinis, Bartlett, Dwarshuis, Ellis, and I think Zampa now comes back in to get a game. I think he's been on some paternity leave, but could be back in the mix. Abhishek and Gill opening the batting for India. Sky Yadav, Tilak, Axar, Sundar, Jitesh, Doob, Arshdeep, Varan, and Bumrah. Abhishek did bowl 1 over and went for 13. So how many bowlers they got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Without even using Abhishek. So Axar and Sundar perhaps going to get some more use with the ball. 2 T20 internationals, both night games at this venue. 10 over Thrash, won by South Africa in 2018. Australia chased 145 versus West Indies in 2022. Not particularly helpful as a study sample, is it? 2 games. So we look at the Big Bash. I think it's 20 odd games, 21 night games, RPO of 8.3. There's no toss bias in night matches, including those Big Bash games. The last Big Bash game we saw, Thunder smash 214 to beat Strikers in January. Paul, is this a tricky ground guide? Have you got trends that you're confident on, or are you just going to give it a swerve?
It is a bit tricky. I've got a 12 match study sample, and there is an 8-4 chaser bias. These are just full matches. It's a bit of a mixed bag. You've got plenty of low scores, but then there is also that 214 that you mentioned, which is very high for Big Bash, and also a 193 chased 194. So not sure, but it seems pretty decent for runs. There hasn't been a massive amount of sixes, but they were high on occasion, and it's notable that even in some of the low scoring games, you've still seen a decent return. So I think you could see quite a high sixes count here. The lines aren't out yet, so let's wait and see. Maybe something to put in the VIP later in the week.
Okay, anything in your Bash memory bank for this venue, Rich?
Yeah, 41 ball 100 from Josh Brown for Brisbane Heat. He smacked it all over and loads of sixes in that game. It's tricky, as Paul said, but I'd be leaning more towards runs as well. I just think with the weather the way it's been in Brisbane at the moment, it's been really good forecast. It's been possibly the best weather across most of Australia, actually. And in the Marsh Cup, it wasn't played here, but it was played at Allan Border Field, which is also on the Gold Coast in Brisbane. It's been a run fest. I know it's a different ground, but we've seen places like Adelaide, for instance, have had a lot of rain. Ball's done a bit occasionally, but not in Brisbane so far. So again, I'd be leaning towards runs because of that.
Paul, who wins the match?
I have to say India. I think they're the better sides, and they're fairly close to full strength really here. Whereas you look at Australia, no Hazelwood, that's a big loss. And Maxwell's back, but I don't think you've ever heard me get excited about Glenn Maxwell coming in the team, and nothing changes. I think he's a luxury player.
Rich, all this chopping and changing for Australia, does that put you off?
It does. I mean, look, it's Ashes fever now, isn't it? We've seen it with England in that ODI series, massively underperformed, and Australia now they've given people like Hawkins, Stark and Hazelwood a run out, but now they're off to do the red ball stuff. Whereas India are actually finishing the tour strongly, aren't they? They started slowly, they warmed up, but they're getting stronger and stronger. And I know we were frustrated in the VIP. We wanted to put India up second innings at Hobart. It was chaser bias as well. But the odds on, and we just felt it was the right price and nothing else. But I think they've got the momentum. I think they're finishing strongly, and I think they'll probably win again.
Paul, other spots from you?
Couple of player performances. First, not sure this will last, but 5-4, Bumrah over 20.5. That looks too big, surely. And this other one that I like quite a lot is Xavier Bartlett over 23.5. That's won 10 out of 14 in T20 internationals. And I think the point is he'll probably get a bat for Australia with this weaker lineup.
Anything from you, Rich, in terms of nuggets?
Yeah, just actually, Paddy Power Betfair, brilliant actually for keeping their both teams to score markets up really late, and actually you can sometimes do it in play as well, but I wouldn't bank on that. But we're talking about conditions. Just get on X before the game, an hour or so before the game, and see if you can get somewhere. Someone's put a picture up of the surface. That's just a really good indicator, and I think you'll be quicker than most of the layers. The other thing I'm interested in is Maxwell coming back in. India just got loads of left-handers. And Maxwell's an off spinner, and whether it's Zampa or Kuhnemann, actually Maxwell turning the ball away from them makes him interesting. I don't think I back him top bowler, but if there's some sort of player performance comes up the next day or so for Maxwell when people realise he's going to play, he could be interesting for the wickets alone.
Right, let's look at players to follow on the tops markets. We did point you in the direction of win rate winners. So Abhishek, top bat, Varun, top bowler. Last week's show, they've already won. Those players were correctly identified. Who's going to come good on win rate? Well, we're still waiting on Tilak Varma, 5-1. Star Sports priced up. Bresbet, AK bets. Mentioned Short potentially opening the batting. That is basically where he has spent the majority of his career for Australia. Sky Bet, Paddy Power, Betfair Sports would go 5-1 Short. I think he'll open. Cautious has won 5 from 8. Top bowler, a massive win rate, but obviously going to be pulled back to the field at some stage with 7-2 888. Boyle Sports. What you got, Paul?
Well, I agree with you about Matt Short. I think he's probably the favourite to get that opening spot. 5-1's wrong. The other one would be Josh Philippe. He's 11-2 as well. Or even, I suppose, Mitch Owen hoping for Hobart, so maybe he gets a go. But I think you're right with Short, and he's the bet. But the main one for me would be Varun Chakravarti, 3-1 top wicket taker, 1.9 wickets and last 10 per average 1.9 last 10 T20 internationals. And not just that, but a great record against Australia in T20 and one day internationals.
Rich?
A couple of darts for me. I think the left hand India have got loads of left-handers, and obviously it's great for taking down Kuhnemann and even Zampa, and Abhishek clearly the man to beat. But lower down in that middle order, 12-1. I don't think the market's caught with the fact that Axar Patel's batting number 5 and he's batting really well. And Washington Sundar 28-1. I mean, what was he 6 in the last game? They're just wrong prices, and particularly for the attack they're coming up against. So small stake stuff for me, but I'd have to split stakes on those two.
Righty, 7Bet special offer for you. Bet £10, get a £10 free bet. The promo code to use is WFB. 10. First deposit, a minimum £10 stake. That's your £10 free bet, minimum odds, evens, maximum winnings of £100, 5-day expiry, bonus T's and C's apply. It is best bets time. Both Rich and Paul have 5 to spend. Pens and papers at the ready. These will also be posted in our free tips channel, which you can sub up to in the comments below. Richard first.
Right, I'll kick off then. New Zealand versus West Indies match. 2 points over 335.5 match runs at 5 to 6 with Bet365. Then I'll have 0.75 points, both teams to score 190 runs at 11 to 2. That's Paddy Power, Betfair and Sky Bet. And then 0.25 points, both teams to score 200 in the same match at 12 to 1 with the same firms. And then finishing off in that New Zealand-West Indies game, 0.5 point Matt Chapman, top Kiwi bat at 11 to 2. Paddy Power, Betfair, Sky Bet. Over to India, Australia. 0.5 point each. Axar Patel, top India batsman at 12 to 1. That's general. And 0.5 point on Washington Sundar, top India batsman at 28 to 1. That's general. Final 0.5 point then. Ollie Pope, top England series batsman at 10 to 1. And that's general as well.
And Paul.
Okay, so I have 3 points on over 16.56s, New Zealand, West Indies at even money. That's with 7-bet. 1 point Varun Chakravarti at 3 to 1, top India bowler against Australia. That's with Paddy Power and Sky Bet. And then Bet365, 1 point player performance double. Jason Holder over 30.5 and Xavier Bartlett over 23.5.
Lovely stuff. Those are your best bets. Winners galore, no doubt. Don't forget to sub up to that VIP channel in the comments below, where we're making you even more money and we're taking it very seriously. All live matches covered, in play bets as well. Next week, more Ashes markets deciphered, another Ashes in play hotspot for you, and more best bets. So don't miss the Cricket Betting Podcast. We'll see you next time.